Thank you, Madam Chair, for this opportunity to come before your committee. I'm David Tucker. I'm the Executive Director of the Human Relations Commission. I have with me here tonight the Chair, Miriam Aberfazl, Commissioner, Ms. Jimna Stringer-Holmes, and Dr. Ben Tran. If I can they make short comments, please? Ms. Holmes, if you would start, and Ben, if you would come right behind, and Miriam, you wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. My name is John Stringer Holmes. I have been on the commission for the last 2 years. I would like to say that the office that Dr. Tucker leads, they are amazing. They are doing amazing work, but they're also doing the work of people from 25 years ago. The same size of the staff, but yet our city has tripled, quadrupled in size and needs. So I'm hoping that tonight, what you hear from us and the needs for the budget to be increased, that you pay attention to the details of the work they've done just in the last 6 months, as well as the work that is needed to be done to keep our city the vibrant city that it is.
Good evening. My name is Ben Tran, and I am very honored to be a commissioner on the Metro Human Relations Commission here in Nashville. Commissions like ours came with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in order to ensure that when the country desegregated, that there would be a check of power and balance of that desegregation from the state level to the federal level and the municipality level. And we were at the municipality level. And so as we've continued that work, and we've done great work in the recent years. Basically, I am proud to be a part of this commission because it is a true platform and channel for which public citizens can make sure that the public goods and public venues are for the public. We carry out investigations, we do hearings, we make sure that there's balance of power and authority at different levels in the city. And as we've seen recently with our great Metro Arts report, we've played a big role, and I truly am grateful to the staff in terms of how much work they've done. In that report, we've raised issues about different policies, about interpretations and applications of the law and jurisprudence, the role of commissions, and even the shady area of conflict, I mean, not shady, but like the gray area between conflicts of interest. And as our society and economy become, the line between public and private becomes more and more blurred, it is truly important that what is good for the public is good for all of the public. And so with that, I ask that you support our budget requests in order, one, to maintain this, to keep the wonderful staff that has been doing all the work. They carry a much heavier load than they typically would have. And also for us to have new positions, a director of advocacy, for us to continue and expand our work. As of now, for example, the Metro Arts investigation took all of the manpower, even more than we could afford. But if there was another investigation, for example, it would be very difficult for our commission to do the work. So with that, I thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Okay, I'm going to say a few words, and then we're going to pass it to the director to lay out sort of what's in the actual budget. My name is Miriam Aberfazl. I am the chair of the Metro Human Relations Commission. I have been a member of the commission, I think, going on 4 years, and had a rare opportunity to be chair for about 2 years during a transition period. I have seen this commission grow its heft and impact in this city over time with intention and with the same, if not less, resources a lot of the time. What you saw this year in terms of bringing that Title VI complaint into a real full investigation with a very small staff was Herculean in my mind. Typically, a commission or an investigation like that would require much more manpower to get done, but they were able to do it. And so what I'm asking from you is, if this agency, if this commission is truly kind of the backbone of Metro or the integrity holder of Metro, kind of the equity keeper of Metro, then we really need to look at what we are valuing it at. Currently, our executive director is at the lowest echelon of payment in terms of his salary, and that does not reflect, I don't think, the value that this commission holds in this city. It certainly does not reflect the value it's come to hold over the last year. And so I deeply request that you look at that as a city that is growing faster than any of us can even imagine. Many of us who were born and raised here forget that how big and how cosmopolitan we're becoming, and we need to value our equity organization at that level, at the level that we're at as a city. So that's what I'm requesting. Please, let's consider what Nashville is today and for how many people, and what an agency, a commission that holds our integrity and our equity in check means to us. And please fully fund the request, particularly of the salaries of the existing staff that are there and those that we need to continue to do this work. Thank you.
And I want to thank the commission who supports our work, who backs us up and encourages us along. We've asked for $250,000 to hire one employee and to adjust salaries. You all have our entire budget package that we laid out and presented. And I have this one screen up from there just to say a little bit about why this and why now. MHRC will celebrate its 60th year next year. We've been historically underfunded. It was abolished for 5 years. It's had the same staff size for 25 years. Although we're in the Metro Code, we build our work around not only the code, but also the Nashville Next project. And this current climate around DEI and non-discrimination brings us to the question of how should Nashville respond? What I like most about this commission is it's semi-autonomous. It's 17 commissioners, 10 of which selected by the mayor, 7 by you. And it's representative of the people of Nashville. And so we're not held nor bound by an administration's position. I find that liberating and freeing, and it's also what creates the controversy that comes with our work. Being underfunded is what's going on as it relates to what is going on now, this anti-DEI. Even within Metro, departments have dismantled DEI programs. Even in our language, we're changing it to mean something that it's not. Just because you call it culture and people, words matter. So you're going to focus on culture and people. You're no longer going to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. But because of MHRC, we're able to continue this work, and I think we do it with a level of integrity that hopefully you would see fit for us to be able to hire one person and to be able to adjust the salaries and positions of our staff. We've analyzed it. Our staff fall at the bottom. You're familiar with our inclusivics report. Agencies that provide direct service are the lowest paid and have the highest density of minorities. The organizations in Metro that legislate, regulate, and mandate are primarily white men that 50% of them don't even live in, over 50% of them don't even live in Davidson County. So we're at a disadvantage. But I think what I'm asking you is you get to decide what our value is and what our potential is to this city. If you look over our work, the work that we've done, not only with this Metro Arts thing, but inclusivics, other initiatives, language access. We've done some preliminary looks at wage theft, which is a big issue. We've worked on these issues. We've been a proponent. We helped stand up the COB. It was MHRC that conducted the first two meetings of the COB when it was established. If our work is important, we would like for you all to consider granting our request of $250,000 that would allow us to adjust our salaries, but also to hire a person that we can continue this work. I just want to show one other thing, and I am done. These are just some of the things that we are involved in every year that often goes unnoticed, whether it's through logistical support, through the assistance of planning. We appreciate the feedback in Nashville. MHRC coordinated that coalition of 13 organizations that you all funded from the final group of COVID funds. We put those groups together and we came here and we advocated on behalf of them. We helped stand them up and they're doing their work now. That's where I think is our sweet spot of being able to bring communities together around a communal common good and help facilitate them in making that happen. But to that end, also, these are on the right-hand column there, these are all the annual events that we play a significant part in this city and have been for the last few years. The programs and initiatives on the other side, some of them are in various levels of implementation. But at the end of the day, it's going to rest with you all. We're going to continue to try to do the work as we do it. But I believe as the way the nation is going now with the clawing back of things that many of us had taken for granted, Nashville needs an MHRC. Nashville needs an MHRC that can be held accountable to the people. And again, you approve them. You actually get to select 7 of them, and they're people from your districts. You all are the representative body of the people of Nashville, and we're asking that you would consider funding us. Thank you, and we'll take questions at that point.
Thank you, Director Tucker. The first question I see is Councilmember Ewing. Councilmember Ewing, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Director Tucker, and all of you for being here. I really appreciate all of you and the work you do. My question is less related to budget and more related to 2 of the programs that I see that I just wanted to, if you don't mind, indulge me just to get a little more information about. One of those is Just Conversations, and the second is the Mobile Diversity Seminar. I'm just curious about those programs, if you don't mind.
You picked 2 good ones, Council Member. Just Conversation is a series that we do. You can actually find it under Just Conversations around various social issues that have impact to people. We get subject matter experts and just sit down and have conversations around these various issues. We have a series that is up now. We just released one around housing. I think it was 3 or 4 other issues that we tackle. And what it does is it provides a platform for people to engage and listen to subject matter experts talk about particular subjects. The Mobile Diversity Tour was actually started by MHRC to take police recruits around to various parts of our community to assist them and facilitate them engaging with people from our community, whether it was the LGBTQ community, whether it was the Muslim community, the Black community, and we've been on pause. And we've been on pause and with the MMPD, and we're trying to work this back out. these conversations aren't easy. And because an officer gets upset when no one's treated them wrong, that their voice wasn't the loudest one in the room. But we continue. In fact, I've talked with Assistant Chief Green and with Chief Drake about the restarting of it, and it's under consideration with them now. But we've put this together ever since it started. It's a valuable tool that allows us to engage and also expose the police officers to the people that they're going to be dealing with. It's evidence-based. We have a pre-screening on the front, and then we have a pre-screening on the back, and then we compare. When you ask police officers questions as simple as, what do you know about the Muslim community? We have answers of police officers in training to say that they're terrorists. They're mean to their women. And then hopefully as they go through this seminar and they sit at a table with various representations of people from the Muslim community, many of them are surprised that many of them are white people. So it's the education that also comes from the code, because we want transparent and accountable policing. Nashville wants that. But anytime police officers teach discipline work, it's always ran through the law enforcement funnel. Whatever they're going to teach from a standing discipline, they're going to police it. But what we do is present them with these communities, and hopefully that they find out something about them that they didn't know, that it helps breaks up stereotypes, that they make connections themselves with people in these communities.
Thank you so much. In order to stand that program back up, can you do that with existing resources, or would this be something that would be facilitated by additional budget?
We would need additional money, and it would just take the chief to say, yeah, but yes, we would.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Ewing. And I would like to back and just apologize very quickly. I was so engrossed in this wonderful questionnaire with all of this great information that I did not thank you all. So Director Tucker, thank you so much for the work that you all do. You all do very important and valuable work for our community, and we very much appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm glad that Councilor Ewing asked about just conversations. I was able to participate in a just conversation around living wages in our city. So they are definitely valuable conversations that need to be had, that helps to expose people about topics that they may not be aware of. So again, Dr. Tucker, thank you for the work that you all are currently doing. I saw Councilmember Vo next, followed by Councilmember Cortez.
Great. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Director Tucker and Commissioners, for being here with us tonight. I just had a couple questions. One, I was looking that, just to clarify, you're requesting are just for staffing, reclassifications, and for programming. Did y'all have any studies? I know the last immigrant study we had conducted with Metro was over 20 years ago. So I just wanted to know if y'all can speak to that, or why it wasn't included, or if that's something maybe further down in the pipeline. And then I wanted to ask, second question was about the City Hall pass. If y'all could just expand a little bit further on that.
Okay, the first question around the studies in our large budget package, one of the things in this index is we want to track certain things on an annual ongoing basis in Nashville, so that situations like what you talk about don't come up where something hasn't been counted or tracked in the last 20 years. And how immigrants are doing here, how they're getting along here is very important. But again, in the larger proposal, we would expand our research ability. Right now, our leader of policy and research Ashley Batchelder is back there. And beside her to the left is Mark Etherly, who put together the City Hall Pass. The City Hall Pass is a platform that would allow community groups to be able to not only share information, but coalesce around common issues. And again, to our credit, Mark, in association with one other person, built this, facilitated this. We thought it was going to live at the CMN, and they've recently had leadership changes. So we're out shopping somebody to take it. It's a full platform. It's ready to go. It's in it's beta testing, but that's up and it's ready to go. We just need someone to host it because we don't have the capabilities, nor the funding, nor the staffing to host it. But we did build it, and we do think it's a great tool that will bring like-minded people together. It will create space for them to post information to the larger community. And also, it has many different working things that if you want to hear the specifics, I can bring Mark up to the mic real quick. Also, just about all of our staff is back there. Mark Etherly, Ashley Batchelder, and Crystal Cockrell. There's only one other person who's not here. But all the work we do, wherever MHRC shows up, it's that group of people that makes that happen. Did that answer your question, Councilwoman Vo?
Thank you, Council Lady Vo. Councilmember Cortez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. We're talking a lot about staffing, and you had asked for money for one hire. If it was a more flush year, how many hires would you really need to do what you feel needs done? What would get us to that position?
It would be even more than this. I'd say five. Five for now. And the reason I would say five would have to get acclimated, and then it would change our strategic plan significantly because suddenly we have more bandwidth. So five would be that. But again, we need five professionals. We need five people that would have a certain set of skills, whether it's research, whether it's law, whether it's around housing, whether it's around community engagement. It would have to be specific to the work that we do.
And let's say if we were able to get five, how long do you feel that would future-proof the organization? I know that might be a tough question to verbalize, but tough answer to verbalize.
Say that again. How long would it?
Yeah, if you were able to get those five employees, how long do you think that would sustain what the current growth the city is going to see?
Oh, not long at all. But again, it would take what the city wants. I mean, do we want protectors and promoters of equity and inclusion? Do we want a body that's able to nudge us and to remind us sometimes? Those are political choices. And I can understand why in certain political climates, those aren't choices people want to make. Reverend Cloud, a former executive director, is credited with saying that MHRC was the conscience of the city. And I think that's to the point when you look at what our mission is. We're trying to promote and educate folk around this issue. And for so often, we say stuff, and often we say it, but there's no work and implementation behind it. But the work that we do, we think, particularly around language access, we were proponents long ago about the lack of language access, that even right now, that still exists in our city that we could do better on. There have been stories, some anecdotal, that individuals who don't speak English as a first language pay individuals to take them through the paperwork process for planning. That ought not be that way. So yes, there's the 5. It's just how bad do we want to be able to have an organization and an agency that is not affected by the whims of the whatever administration, and that's been empowered by the code to operate on behalf of the people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cortez. Do we have any additional questions before I jump into mine? All right. And again, Director Tucker, thank you so very much for the work that you all do. I was just looking at your mission on Nashville.gov, and it is definitely vital work for our city. I did have one question. You mentioned asking for $250,000 to fund one position and to increase the salary of the current positions. The wish list, the questionnaire that we have is requesting 3 positions. So if you were to get that one position, what is the position that you are asking to be filled?
It would be the director of advocacy. One of our strengths is we have people who are qualified to do what they do. And we also need someone that, as you talk about policy, to be able to give it a overview in a sense of not necessarily a lawyer, but someone who is knowledgeable. MHRC has a unique position in Nashville if you look at the history. We're often in conflict with Metro. That's the nature of what we do. 90% of what we do is a result of being in conflict with Metro. And so, but the founding fathers had a way to work through that conflict. And that allows us, with your approval, to go out and get outside counsel to advise us. And we've had to do that on a couple of occasions. But this director of advocacy would be someone who is trained and who is lettered, that brings some credibility to the work that we do around advocacy. And so we broke this down from the 3 positions because we know when we come here, you can't ask for all of it. So what's just the rock bottom? The rock bottom is that we be able to hire this position and that we be able to reclass our staff. Our staff is not compatible, and we don't compete as it relates to others. Even myself, I advocated last year. May 1 was my 2nd year. I've not had a pay increase since I've been here. I abdicated that to lobby on behalf of my staff last year to get them pay increases. That's what equity looks like. But I think I'm worthy of a raise. I think my staff who do work, and as we look at others throughout Metro that make a lot more and do a whole lot less.
Thank you, Director Tucker. And then I just had one more question. On the questionnaire, it says that the commission staff is the same size as 25 years ago, but then it says the increase to 6 staff members happened in the last 18 months. So I was a little confused by that. Are you saying that 25 years ago it was 6 staff members and then y'all didn't have 6 and now y'all are back to 6?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
This body last year, or was it the year before? I believe it's the year before. This body allowed us to hire a Title VI compliance person. This body also considered, most of you all are under the impression that we are the Title VI compliance office for Metro. We're not. We're not that. But we do have the responsibility under the code of investigating Title VI complaints. So it was this body that allowed us to hire that person.
Thank you, Director Tucker. And then I have one last question. Sitting aside the Director of Advocacy for 1 minute, if you got one position, but it was not the Director of Advocacy, and I'll come back and explain why in a moment, but if you got one position that was not the Director of Advocacy, what would be the position that you would want to focus on?
You know, Madam Chair, that's a hard question. It's a hard question because the position on advocacy would fit our work the best. Now, we would adjust and do whatever with whatever you would see fit, but this position here would enhance our work across our own strategic vision around what's most important about right now. So you're forcing me to say which one.
I'm forcing you to pick your favorite child, Director Tucker. And let me just explain why I'm asking that question. And you may come back and say that you still need that position. But last year in the budget, we were able to get a position that looks at policy through an equity lens. It was under the department, like our I don't know the official name, so forgive me, but it's like the DEI type department with like Andrea Blackman and Rajel, excuse me. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. But we did get funding for a position, and that was one of the specific positions that we were able to get funding for was to look at policy through an equity lens. And I believe that that is something that that department, that Ms. Blackman is working on currently. So assuming that they are working to get that off the ground, is that something that maybe could be like a collaborative effort, or does your department still like need that position, or would it be better to have a different position and then collaborate with their department?
We collaborate with Andrea and Razel. Our work does not overlap. We think our work complements each other. Using even the example that you're saying, when there is some autonomy in a group and versus a group where there is not any autonomy, I think that's the blessing, because Nashville has shown MHRC in the past, when it was defunded for 5 years, that there are ways to which to bring things that get out of hand back in hand. But our work comes from two different places. And again, we're often the one body that is at odds with Metro on an issue.
Thank you, Director. Councilmember Cortez, you're recognized.
Thank you. Director, I like how you framed it at odds with Metro, and I just have a comment. And I think you have teams go on the field for resistance. They're trying to practice against each other, build their skill set. People go to the gym for resistance. You're not going to get stronger if you don't have resistance. I think resistance is a good thing. Right now, our society, we look for the path of least resistance. We look for instant gratification. I think resistance is a good thing. So I like how you framed that. I like how you told that story. So I just want to say that, and I appreciate you all being here today.
Thank you.
Dr. Tucker, could I mention about the mobile diversity and my experience? I just wanted to share this for the councilwoman that asked about the mobile diversity. That was one of the most impactful programs that I was a part of. On that particular day, we ended up at Tennessee State University, and I don't think we had been there before, had we?
No.
And so officers that are going to be out in the community, policing, protecting, we're meeting young people in an educational environment that many had never, ever been on that campus before. And so I was there and I was part of some of the groups. And I have sons who had graduated from Tennessee State University, husband that played football there and graduated from Tennessee State University. And I got to share my story of my youngest son, who was a Marine, who was blown up in a sulfur explosion, lost his face, lost everything, came back, no body, so we had to rebuild him. And when we brought him home, and I was sharing with the officers that he did not look like the person that we had seen before. And so as a mother, and have raised two young Black men, I was already back into that mode of, here's how I got to protect my sons. So I made sure that everyone in my neighborhood knew what he used to look like and what he looked like now. And that was very, very tragic and marred. And I also let the police station down the street, because part of his healing process was that he was going to be outside. That was part of the wonderful folks at Vanderbilt Burn Center. He needed to be outside. Well, he was going to have a hood on his head. He needed to have glasses on to protect his eyes, because his vision was blurred and everything. And then he was going to be someone that's suffering from PTSD. So I wanted to make sure my neighbors did not think that my son was someone roaming through the neighborhood that they did not know, because he did not look like the young man that they remember going off to the Marines. And so I shared my fear. I shared my fear that if one of them were to pull up beside him and ask him what he's doing, he's going to naturally protect his body, because underneath his hood and underneath his jacket was burned skin. I was afraid that someone may ask him to get on his knees, and yet his knees weren't bendable. Vanderbilt was still in the process of putting his body back together, which was 3 years of healing, from the explosion to by the way, this is a good story. He's back in. He's been deployed and he's come back home, to my dismay. Like, can we please stop with the cowboy in the sky stuff? But I let them know that I was afraid of why my son was healing, that he was going to be policed. And to have that interaction with men and young women who almost are the same ages of my son. Most of them were the same ages of my son and my sons and my daughter. And letting them know the extremes that I went to. You may consider extreme. I thought it was just part of protecting him. But as his face changed and as he healed, there was updates and making sure everyone were a part of the healing process. Well, those young men that graduated that December, that was part of that mobile diversity, some of them stayed in touch with me, and I've stayed in touch with them. So that day helped them to see a real person, not someone who, they may have a stereotype of, sharing the fears from teen years to adulthood, and they are real. And so it opened the door for real conversations, and many of them had been in the military, so there was a connection there. And many of them understood that fear, because then they start sharing their fear regarding getting ready to go out into the communities that they may not live in. So it was a very interesting day. And I've shared this with the commission, and I've shared this with Dr. Tucker and the staff. That is one of those programs that you want to have, to where we can have open dialogue like I had with them on that day, that builds community, not gate communities. So I just thought I wanted to share that with you guys, and thank you for asking that question. Yes.
Councilmember Ewing, you're recognized.
I don't know where to begin. Thank you so much for sharing that personal story. My heart just goes out to you. I can't imagine the journey that your son and you and your entire family have had to go through. I can't imagine the fear of a child being perceived as different, though. I spoke earlier on the floor a couple months ago about the fact that I have a son with profound intellectual disabilities, and I work overtime to explain and build understanding for him and other people who are nonverbal, other people who might be perceived as different, misunderstood, typecast, stereotyped. There is such a huge need, not just in our city, but everywhere in our country, in the world, for building those bridges, building understanding, building community, right? And so I just want to thank you for sharing that. That was sort of a brave personal moment, and I'm filled with appreciation for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Ewing, and thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Thank you. Do we have any other questions, colleagues? All right, seeing none, we are going to bring this meeting to a close. I do have just a very brief reminder. Next week, we will start on Wednesday. We will have hearings starting at 4 p.m. We will have Finance, the Mayor's Office, MTA, WEGO, and NDOT. And then on Thursday, Parks and Recreation, Library, Water Services, and the Arts Commission. So we will see you all again on next week. Don't forget this Saturday, we will be at the Northwest Y. And then on the 25th, we will be out at the Hermitage Library, also at the Southeast Community Center. So thank you all again for attending. Meeting is adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.